Welcome to Extremely Valid Points.
We're three business owners and friends who enjoy talking about business, marketing, and creativity.
Along the way, we just might happen to make some extremely valid points.
So we'd love it if you would join us in today's conversation.
Welcome back to the show, everyone. This is Extremely Valid Points. I'm your co-host, Nathan Sala.
I'm Jenny Sala.
And I'm Dave Wilkins.
So today we're going to be talking about attracting leads using the world's strongest magnet. So actually, we're talking about lead generation PDFs, or sometimes they're called lead magnets or lead generators. But what they are is that freebie that you get when you're on a website and there's an offer and they say, we're going to give you this something of value if you give us your email address. So this is actually part 3 of a 4-part series. And Jenny, what are the other parts of this series?
Yeah, so we've been talking about lead funnels, and our first episode, we just talked about what is a lead funnel and what the different parts are, why you want one, what you need to know about them. And then our second part of the 4-part series, we talked about video and how to use video in your lead funnels as great content, because great content is a huge part of lead funnels. So today we're talking about the lead generator. And then next week, for week 4, we're going to talk about what to do once you get these emails using this lead magnet that we're going to talk about today. So next week, we're talking about how to lead nurture and how to lead people farther down that sales funnel.
Great. Yeah. So this episode is all about that lead generator. And, you know, I call them lead generation PDFs because most often they're in PDF format. Adobe isn't paying us to say that or anything like that. So, but sometimes they can take other formats like a tool or a piece of software or a video or
a demo.
You know, yeah, free trial, something like that. But for our purposes, I think we're just going to call them lead generator PDFs. And so the reason why I really feel it's important to talk about this is because I believe that in the sales funnel universe, that this lead generator freebie is the epicenter of that universe. This is the most important part of the whole process.
You seem a little passionate about this.
I do. It's because I have spent way too much time thinking about sales funnels, poring over them, conceptualizing, writing about, talking about. So when you get to that point, you start getting passionate about really nuanced topics. And I just think, I feel like it was kind of a discovery, you know, like it's like the owl that found the center of the Tootsie Pop.
Yes. 3 licks.
Yes. He knows, he discovered the answer, you know, because he's smart. And as everybody knows, owls are smart.
Of course, of course.
Indeed.
But you know what else is smart?
PDFs.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, here's why I think they're the most important part. It's because if you blow it at this stage, you've lost all of your other funnel components. The whole thing is wasted.
Sure.
And you've basically just been dumped by your customer after you get, you know, say your customer gives you their email address and you send them a PDF and they are just really disappointed by it. Like, it's terrible. And you know it's terrible, but you're like, well, you know, we just needed to say something to get their email address. So it's not that bad. Well, it is bad because now you have lost all of your credibility, all the trust that you've worked so hard to build, everything that you've done up to this point to get somebody to part with their coveted, precious email is now wasted. And so I just think it you know, and I, on the other hand, put a high production value on the PDFs. I think these things should be works of art. I think that, you know, and we'll go into a little bit of later on about what I think makes a really good PDF, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Am I out of line here?
Well, no, I mean, I think people love free, right? So They're willing to engage with you because, hey, I'm going to get something in return. But then it's a first impression, right? You don't get a second chance to ever make another first impression. So it has to be something that is valuable where they think, if they're giving me this for free, imagine if I paid them what I would get, right?
Yeah.
Not
It's good.
they duped me, or they didn't put very much effort into this. And so are they going to really put effort into, my relationship with them?
Right. Right. And if you overpromise and under deliver, you're going to lose trust.
Right.
And they're going to take a hike.
Yep.
Even before you make a great PDF, you've got to have a great hook, right? Like before you even make the content, you have to decide what is the content going to be? What do people really want? What will add value to them? At this stage, it's relative to the product and it's relative to your client and your customer, but what can you give them that is worth something and that they aren't going to find anywhere else? It has to be something they're not going to get on another website.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and we talked about this in the first part of this 4-part series, where it has to be something that's so good that they would actually feel fine paying for that. The freebie is so valuable. Hey, I'd pay for this, but that's not really your main service. So you'll give them that for free just to show, some good faith. Like, hey, I want you, I'm in this relationship. I'm going to put myself out there and we'll just see what happens.
Well, yeah. And I think, you can have a mindset where, well, I don't want to put a bunch of time and energy into this, and then they just take that for free and rip me off. What you're really saying is I'm investing in this because you are going to invest in me. Mm-hmm. Basically, you're giving them, like you said, something that ought to be paid for, but they are paying for it in the sense of saying like, yes, I'm going to allow you to market to me.
Yeah.
So it's a reciprocal transaction.
It is. That's exactly what it is. It is. It's like a relationship, and all of the dynamics of a human relationship are there, and all the same rules apply. So you have to give, you have to, take, there's a balance.
Give us some examples of some PDFs, Nathan. What should be in our PDF, and how do we make it worth something?
So I think you had a great point about first you have to figure out what it's going to be, and to do that you have to really understand who's going to be downloading it and what they need. So I think like a real easy one for a lot of businesses is like some sort of checklist. So here, download this PDF. So say if you sold, let's just say auto parts or something like that. Well, download this free checklist to, for your car maintenance or something like that. Sure. Or even take it further for your specific car. Here's your, you do all the research to compile, hey, the Acura, this year, this make, this model requires, here's their service schedule, that type of thing.
100,000 miles.
Exactly.
Timing belt replacement. Yeah. We've known enough Acuras to know that.
So, so any type of checklist, it really works well with, B2B in, the marketing field or something like that. You can just have marketing checklists, or here's an SEO checklist. Yeah. This is what every single page of your website needs to have. So people that would be like, well, hey, I need this tool. Here's an expert giving me a free tool. I can do this, and so that's a great example. But if checklists won't work for your type of business, you could think of, it could be a brochure that really describes your service. It could be, kind of a retelling of your whole story. So sometimes, in fact, Donald Miller recommends that you do this as your PDF. He recommends building a landing page, and following a very, systematic format, but then having a PDF. But on that PDF, it's basically your landing page format in PDF form. And so you download that. And anyway, I think it's kind of funny.
Is that adding value?
So it's not, unless the value is just that you exist and you have a story and you solve their problem. So, and his reasoning is like, some people won't read your page, but they'll download the PDF or watch the video, and the video will retell the story of your page. And so basically everything has the same call to action anyway. So anyway, I'm not fully on board with that totally, but that's something that you can do if you got nothing else.
Yeah.
Just redo the landing page in a PDF. Yeah.
Well, and I think, it's important to be consistent with our message and to really hammer that home, but you don't want people to feel hammered.
Right.
Right. So you want to be able to give people multiple perspectives of the same message, right?
Sure.
So sometimes just shifting our wording is important because what may engage one customer or viewer, another customer might need to have a little bit different approach or different wording. So I think it's important to have a retelling of the story, as long as you are also providing other value, and not just where they just feel like, boy, they just keep saying the same thing over and over, and that's it. You do have to develop a relationship and a journey.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that is a good point. Maybe I'll reconsider whether I'm on board or not. But a lot of people do like whiteboards, infographics. Coupons are a great value. Coupon is instant value.
Absolutely.
You are giving somebody value if you give them a coupon. And a lot of times people, will say, well, I was going to buy it anyway, but with the coupon, I might as well save 20% or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But other people would say, well, I wasn't going to buy it, but now that they have
Right.
a coupon, I might as well, especially if you limit it or restrict it or make it scarce somehow by saying this coupon expires, in 2-3 days. So you better hurry, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can do worksheets that if you are B2B or do an industry, you should just do a worksheet, like something like maybe a calendar or some sort of tool on paper that they can print out and reuse over and over and over and over again. That'd be a great way to add value. Mm-hmm. A lot of people do recipes. Here's the recipe. A lot of people like loading recipes.
Yeah. And if you're selling a food or some kind of spice or sauce or something like that, then it's practical to give people new ways to use it.
Yeah,
sure.
Also, if you're a blogger or a health coach, recipes make a lot of sense for that.
Yeah.
If you were selling mixed drinks, or you were a bartender, or maybe you are a chef, or you're selling cooking classes, recipes all make sense for those types of things.
Totally.
Yeah, because you think about it, if you give someone some sort of tool to help make them more successful, that they're doing their job better or easier, so that means that they're going to have more success, which means that they're going to have more, things to fulfill. So they need more help. So they need your services even more. Right. Exactly. So you're trying to just give them something that is going to compel them that, like, hey, this is working so well, I want more of this, or I want the full thing.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Dave. And I think my favorite type of PDF is education. So because, to your point, when you're helping somebody become more successful, when you're helping them be better, not only are they going to be a better client for you and better prepared to work with you, better prepared to afford your services because of their success, but the education, it just is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
And so I like to do like the PDF guide, like the free guide. Mm. And so there's so many different ways and shapes this could turn, but you're basically taking your expertise, packaging it in a way that is going to solve somebody's problem, really help them out. And so like some examples for that would be something like, download my free guide. It's the 5 secrets of, yada, yada, yada,
yes.
Five pitfalls to avoid, yada, yada, yada. There's always
Yadas.
5 yada. I have 15 yadas, right?
15 yadas would be too many. It'd be overwhelming.
Yeah. 5 keys, 5 tools, 5 ways. Doesn't always have to be 5. It could be any number, but there's so much, there's a reason why people all, you'd think it'd be overused and too ubiquitous, cliche, but it actually, I don't think it'll ever go out of style. A certain number of a certain, things.
Yeah.
5 ways to really help you is going to be attractive no matter how long you live.
Yeah. And it probably shouldn't be, 25 ways to something, just because you don't want them to open it up and be overwhelmed and go, oh, I'm done. I don't have time to read this, something that is, they're going to download, have that instant value or that instant connection of like, oh, this is something I could use right away. Not, I have to spend a week researching this just to understand what it's all about.
Yeah. Excellent point. Yeah. And this is the type of, a lot of people that send emails or something to people, or they send things to people, their unopened rate is astronomical. Like hardly anybody ever opens your email,
Yeah.
But when you have something like this, they literally sit there and refresh their inbox until it arrives because they just ordered it and they can't wait to get it. So it's like, it's totally flipping the script on email and nurturing and that type of thing. It's like getting them prepped and primed for an email relationship where they are going to be excited to get your emails and they can't wait to do it. So that's another good thing about those, but you just have to make sure it's valuable.
Sure. And, the other upside is that, it's very almost no cost, right? Just to provide this digital good or service to them. So you don't really have anything to lose.
Sure.
And so that's, that's a great advantage that we have now versus, direct mail or some other things in the past where you had to definitely pay for that advertising or free item that you're giving away.
Sure. Yeah. If it was pre-digital marketing era, you'd be mailing them a free guide, which would include postage, but also printing and all sorts of other things.
It may take considerable expense to prepare it, especially if it was sometimes you can do like some data about your industry. Here's the 5 trends in your industry that you better prepare now for, or you're going to be going out of business, something like that, where you actually have to put considerable cost in, you're footing the bill for that. But yeah, you're right. For them to download that, and whether it's one person who downloads it or 1 million people who download that, there's no extra cost for you, which is really nice.
What do you think about, I see on occasion people that kind of use, I would say, scare tactics or fear as a motivator, like the top 5 things you're doing wrong right now. I think that could be motivating, but is that something we want to do? Or is that, what would you say? Would you say steer clear of that?
So I would say that fear is a great motivator, and I don't love to use it. And I do think it also depends on your brand, and there's a lot of factors involved, but sometimes it's a better way to motivate. Sometimes it's good to have like 2 different approaches. Like one is the good cop, one's the bad cop. Like one is like 5 ways to be successful. And then the other was 5 ways to avoid failure.
Yeah.
I think fear of failure is the number one fear that people have, especially business owners, ironically. It's a safe bet to just go ahead and venture to guess that some of your people have fear of failure. So if you say, hey, we're offering you a way to not fail, then you might have some good success with that. But, personally, as long as the content is good and it's true, why not? Why not help people, alleviate their fears? If you're delivering on what you're saying, go for it.
Yeah. One situation I can think of where it would be completely suitable to have that type of hook would be, if you're a lawyer, a business or employment attorney can tell so many small business owners so many things they're doing right now that are illegal because you just don't know any better, especially if you live in the state of California, where and I'm sure other states are the same way, but every year the laws change and there's more regulations and new rules that you have to do. And, knowing a few employment attorneys, they told me quite a few things that I wouldn't have known otherwise. And so that would be a really appealing draw for me is, 5 common business employment mistakes most people are making and they're breaking the law.
Yeah.
And how you need to fix it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And to me, that would be helpful to know.
Yeah,
right?
I think there's a way that you could frame it, where you can address people's fears and concerns without maybe perhaps hitting them over the head or really manipulating them in a way that takes advantage of that.
Yeah. By the way, we will be having a employment attorney, join us on one of our upcoming episodes. If you would like to learn more about what you might be doing wrong, we will be meeting with an attorney, and I think that's going to be a really great episode that could help us all.
Yeah, because I bet there's 100, to your earlier point, you don't want to overwhelm them with 25 things, or you don't want to say like 100 things you're doing wrong. You just give them the 5.
Definitely.
And maybe they're the 5 most common, the 5 ones that almost everybody is doing. Or maybe the 5 ones that have the biggest penalties or something. Because then the reader will say, well, I'm doing these 5, then you have a call to action, like, hey, do you want us to do a quick audit and just figure out like what you're, let's have a conversation and we can help you fix all these problems, and then you can be, legit. Right. So the nice thing is you're giving a service, you're helping, you're delivering on your promise, but then you are also getting business. It's funneling prospects into you're generating leads. So that's why you do it. Surprise, there's an ulterior motive here. And it's also to get their emails so that you can keep on dripping content to them, more content along those same lines that's going to keep helping them. But yeah.
I was just reminded of another great way to figure out, for your specific business, what kind of content should I be offering? What's valuable to my clients is, if you already have a website and hopefully you already have a blog, if you have that, you should have data that can tell you, what's your most read blog post. If you have something that people are continually drawn to your website for, that is probably some valuable information that people would be willing to exchange their information to receive. And so maybe taking that blog post and turning it into a guide or a white paper, but take that information off your specific website and make it something that people have to work a little harder to get.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point.
People don't want to give out their email address. They don't want to give out their information unless it's in exchange for something of value, such as a discount code or a free gift or something like that.
So Nathan, tell us, what are the secrets to a great PDF?
The secrets?
Yeah.
Well, if I told you, they wouldn't be secret anymore, would they?
Are there secrets?
Join our email list to find out.
So there are 5 secrets.
Whoa.
Yeah. Do you want to know the 5 secrets?
Yes.
And there's actually a 6th bonus secret.
Okay.
And that's the one you really want to know about.
Okay.
So anyway, the most important parts of creating a great lead generation PDF are as follows. Number 1, it has to be visually stunning. Don't just have a white PDF with black text that has 8 bullets on it and
5 different fonts.
Yeah.
In 3 different sizes.
Yeah. Have a graphic designer create something that is beautifully designed. It's eye appealing, eye catching, photos, high resolution,
enjoyable
colors,
to read.
the layout. It's just
reinforces your brand.
Mm-hmm. Stuff jumps off the page. Your logo doesn't even have to be on it. I think you should put your logo on it, but don't put your logo like on the front cover. Put your story, put your offer there and deliver the content. And at the end say, hey, there's my little logo on the back and say, for more information, blah, 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 here's other ways we can help you. Number 2, you have to have a captivating title. Don't just say, here's our PDF, have something that's going to make them excited to read it. A lot of times you tell them the title before they download it, but just have a title that really is exciting and captivating.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think when they receive that email, like you said, a lot of times they might be like refreshing their inbox, waiting for it, but there might be something where they kind of impulsively clicked on it and then they got it in their email. They may not have a chance to read it right away. So you want to make sure that the headline and the email and the subject line and all those things are very clear and make sense and make them sure to come back and click on it, right?
For sure.
Like open this email and all your wildest dreams will go.
Yeah, right.
That's what the vote for Pedro email would say. Okay, so number 3, you want to put in story brand content in there. So it's the message is clear. You're the guy, they're the hero, and you solve their problem. Because as we've said many times on this podcast, if there isn't any danger, then you're not a hero.
Right.
You're not a hero if a car drove by.
You haven't overcome some type of conflict.
Yeah,
Sure.
If a flaming car drove by and almost hit you, but you dodged out of the way and saved 20 children, now you're a hero. Okay? That's how it works. There's got to be an element of danger. Number 4, you got to list some simple steps to solve the problem. Just keep it simple. List the steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3. This doesn't have to be a manifesto of, this. It's got to be, maybe 15 to, 45-minute read or something like that. I would keep it short. If it's visually appealing and it's like it solves the problem and you're done with it in 15 minutes, that's a bonus for me. I don't have time to sit there and read, junk mail.
Right.
The number 5, I think, is include a call to action with an offer that's so good they can't refuse it. So basically say, hey, this is the offer within the offer. Hey, if you act now, I'm going to give you buy one, get one free or something like that. Something that's like, wow, I was in, but now I'm so in.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm going to tell all my friends,
Sure.
you got to go download this thing. And then number 6, the bonus is to list your other lead generation PDF, because you might have, odds are, especially once you get really good at building these sales funnels, you're going to make another one and then another one and then another one and then another one. And each one will probably have a different PDF, and you'll want to create different offers and different tests to try and experiment. So in the bottom of one, list your other ones and say, go to this funnel and download this PDF too, So basically, if they haven't opted into, if they haven't opted out of the funnel or if they haven't bought now, you're sending them further down the funnel.
Yeah.
Gives them something more to do.
Yeah.
Keep engaging them.
What are some common mistakes people make with their lead generation magnet?
So I would say the number 1 mistake that people make is they don't hire a professional copywriter. And copy words, they're so important. A lot of times the business owners that I meet aren't writers,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have this gift of being able to create something and make it compelling. They can type letters and make words and there's no spelling mistakes. That doesn't mean anybody wants to read it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
There has to be somebody with a gift to make you feel connected to the information, feel inspired or interested in the information, and it's just got to be compelling. You can't just have terrible copy.
Sure. A common problem I see a lot of professionals make is speaking their own jargon and using lingo that the rest of us don't understand. If you're a lawyer and you speak to me in your legal terminology, I'm not going to understand it. So sometimes you really need a content writer who can dumb it down for the rest of us so that we know what you're talking about, but without the big words. We have to remember to just simplify it in a way that people will understand.
Yeah. And, even besides the technical terms, sometimes we can get excited about certain things as business owners or in a certain industry that the customer is just not concerned about. Or
Sure.
That's not really their problem. Like we're solving problems behind the scenes that they may not even know about. They're kind of our problems, really.
Right.
But we need to focus on how does the consumer, the customer, what are their things that are going to speak directly to them? How are they going to relate to this information? Not how are we relating to it?
It's good.
That's where the story brand concept keeps everything focused, keeps you on track. Because imagine if, Luke Skywalker was being trained by Yoda and Yoda was like, and now we're going to learn all about the history of the lightsaber. And here's all of the lightsabers I built. Here's how I built this one. Oh, let me tell you that story. Luke's story is he wants to get to his friends and save them. They're in trouble. Yoda is just getting in the way. So for Yoda to be a good guide, he needs to stick to the story and be the guide and let the hero be the hero.
That's good. What else? Tell us some more mistakes.
So another mistake I think people make is they fail to track every move using a sophisticated CRM. And so by that, I mean, if somebody clicks on your website to download the PDF, you need to know the exact time-stamped moment they downloaded it, then when they got the email, then they clicked the email, and then they opened the email. And so all of that needs to be there. Plus all of your offers within the PDF. And we've had to do this for clients and it's a little challenging, but you have to code those in such a way that your CRM knows, like, oh, they clicked this offer in there, or they clicked the coupon code, or they clicked this link to the blog post. So, like what people are doing with the PDF when they get it, or how they're using it. I think it's a huge missed opportunity for people to not be obsessive with tracking how people are using all of their stuff. Because at the end of the day, you can get so many good insights into how people are interacting with your brand and your offerings just by looking at the data. The final mistake is failure to wow. If you don't have an amazing offer, you don't have a great PDF, if it looks terrible, if it just reads flat, if it's just uninspiring, unimpressive, not only will you struggle to generate the leads, but you're going to, all of your marketing funnel efforts just fizzle out. And you'll find that, you might go up to somebody and say, I tried lead generation PDFs and they didn't work.
Yeah, right.
Or I tried I don't have a website because they don't work. And a lot of times it's because your PDF was terrible.
Yeah, well, I think it's important we put a lot of time, effort, energy into it, research it, see what's working, because you could fine tune that PDF, right? Like if you notice everyone's clicking on this one particular link of the PDF, but not this other one, you could either put more focus to what's working and just eliminate the other one, or test how if that's an important element, you could figure out how can I make this one perform like this other section is. So I think, it's important to always be refining, right?
Yes, I think that's a great point. If nobody's clicking on a certain link in your PDF, you should probably remove it and put something else in there.
Sure.
Nobody likes that link.
And be asking for feedback. So let's say you have your PDF link and someone's downloaded it into their email, the mailbox. You can always send them another reminder email saying, hey, just would love to hear your feedback. What did you think of this? Has this been valuable to you? One, that will help remind them that it's there, so maybe they even opened it, but they didn't have time to really think too much about it. And they'll think, oh, that's right. I wanted to go back and try this, process or whatever it is. And then two, you don't have a lot of people that are necessarily going to be willing to give you feedback, but if you make it easy, just ask them one question, or, maybe have some multiple choice things on a web form, so they don't have to sit there and think too much about writing, just to get a little bit of feedback, to know, like, okay, this people really responded well to this. They don't like this.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Another quick thing I want to point out is if people aren't clicking on that link to download it, it might not be that they don't like the link. It could be a design issue. Sometimes the color just blends in, or our eyes are drawn somewhere else and we just don't even see it. And so that's another thing to consider if people aren't clicking on the link is the design working? And are people drawn? Do they see the link?
Once you're done with your funnel and you have a great lead generator, what you should do is do ads that promote your lead generator. So basically have a Facebook ad or something that says, here are the 5 secrets to making a good PDF.
Right.
and then try and get people into your funnel that way, because the PDF is the epicenter of the whole sales funnel. So getting people into there just to get that offer is a great way you're going to be successful if you do that.
Yeah, because essentially you can have that ad on Facebook or wherever it is to, say like, do you have a problem with this? Guess what? We've got a solution and it's free. And, so you're basically you're advertising, like you said, that downloadable, and that is a part of the solution. So you're able to just advertise that, hey, we can help you solve this problem easily, free. And then do you want to even more? Do you want to totally eliminate your problem? Engage us in a relationship.
Do you guys know about bonus time?
No, tell us about bonus time.
Okay, bonus time. So we have negotiated a bonus for our audience.
What's the bonus, Nathan? Tell us.
The bonus is we have partnered with the fine people at storybrandpdf.com, and we have negotiated a deal. So if you go there and you click on their offer, which is you give them your email and put in the promo code of extremely valid points, you're going to get 2 freebies.
Okay.
The first freebie is a checklist of how to make a great lead generator. And the second freebie is they will audit your lead generator idea and tell you if it's good or not. So take advantage of that.
So where do I go for that?
You go to the website, storybrandpdf.com, and it'll just be right there. You will see a huge field where you can enter a huge email.
A huge email.
Yeah. And try it out.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of Extremely Valid Points. Please come back next week as we talk about lead nurturing and how to continue the relationship with your client once you've got that lead generator set up and you're getting those email addresses. How do you engage with them? How do you connect with them? And how do you keep moving them down the sales funnel? Thanks again for joining us. See you next time. Thanks for spending time with us at the Extremely Valid Points podcast. To learn more about this episode, see our show notes at extremelyvalidpoints.com. Be sure and subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you download your podcasts. Join us on Facebook at facebook.com/extremelyvalid. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at EVP_podcast. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time with some extremely valid points.